Los Angeles, California. New York City, New York. Memphis, Tennessee. Seattle, Washington. Omaha, Nebraska.
What?
All right. To be fair, Omaha is not the first place you think of when you think of great music. But let me tell you something. The Omaha area is crawling with fantastic musicians. You can walk into any club any night of the week and hear some amazing musicians that you've never heard of. And neither has anyone else. You know, we're all about bringing you the finest original musicians in their natural habitats. I'm your host, Moose Epperson. Please join me as we check out some more great music that's just lost in Omaha.
Well, this is a song about a place I remember from my childhood, and life has all kinds of stresses and throws us its curveballs, and sometimes we like to retreat to a place that was safe. And this was mine. For me, it was a place about a half a mile down the river road. Walk a mile to a magic place down the river road, where 10 years old feels like yesterday. Cross the creek till you find a place, down a path lined with chicory and Queen Anne's lace, where you can disappear without a trace until it's time to go down the river road. It's a wonderland of innocence, all my own. But the girl next door used to go with me there sometimes. And there was music everywhere underneath the sky, cricket song and the droning of the dragonflies, as we tasted young love while the sun was high and our hearts were free down the river road. Everything changes, innocence gets lost. Still you long for a place lost in time, lost in time. Landed on the moon, and the river road became an interstate. I guess that's progress in the real world. But it's hard to hear the Orioles call over freeways and cell phones and shopping malls. There's a scent of a dream I can almost recall if I let my mind wander down the river road. Down the river road. Take a walk with me. Take a walk with me down the river road.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much for joining us on Lost in Omaha. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. We really enjoy your music, and we're glad you're able to participate with us.
All right.
I've just got some simple questions for you that the people want to know.
Okay.
How would you describe your musical style?
I usually say folk/Americana. It's not true. True folk singers would dispute that it's folk. It's more contemporary folk, I guess. But yeah.
Who are your biggest influences musically?
So many of them. James Taylor, Cat Stevens, Peter, Paul and Mary, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Jim Croce, Dan Fogelberg, Don McLean, to name a few.
How long have you been writing and performing original compositions?
Probably wrote my first embarrassingly bad song when I was probably, 12 years old. And what am I now? 55. So 45 years, 43 years, I can't count, something like that.
Musicians only have to count to 4, Kyle.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. No, you only have to count to 3 and then the roadies lift on 4.
That's true, I hadn't thought about that.
I wrote this song, probably about 15 years ago after my folks bought a farm out near Weeping Water, Nebraska. They're not really farmers, but they're simple rural folks, and after living in the city for a long, long time, they wanted a place to retire that was closer to the earth. And I remember the first time I went out to visit their place and wandered around the grounds and just loved it, and realized with a kind of a melancholy, sinking feeling that for the first time in my life, Mom and Dad's home is not my home. It was a very strange feeling, and it turned out it was a transitional time for everybody in the family. And so I wrote this song to kind of help the family get through the changes we were going through. They have a lot of oak trees that grow on the property there, a variety, particular variety called bur oaks. And so many bur oak trees, in fact, that they named the place Bur Oak Acres. Mom and Dad bought an old farm across from Grandpa's woods, and they called it Bur Oak Acres as they moved in for good. I suppose they could do better for what they could afford to give, but it kinda suits the way they like to live. We shared coffee in the kitchen as the kids played in the barn, or scrambled on the tractor, or ran around the farm. To build a home or a memory takes love and sweat and tears. I can see another chapter started here. And they called it Bur Oak Acres, right across from Grandpa's woods. And I kinda wish I lived there, but I know I never could. I'd claim it for my own, but I'd probably be misunderstood. They called it Bur Oak Acres, right across from Grandpa's woods. Found an old broken windmill, and I climbed up to the top and looked out over bur oak trees and fields of growing crops. Suddenly I felt so small and all alone up there. Will I ever feel at home again anywhere? Oh, they called it Bur Oak Acres, right across from Grandpa's woods. And I kinda wish I lived there, but I know I never could. I'd claim it for my own, but I'd probably be misunderstood. They called it Bur Oak Acres, right across from Grandpa's woods. funny how time passes, doesn't care if you ask why. And you can never really go home again, no matter how you try. You just pray the door stays open and mug greets you with a smile. Coffee's brewing, come in and sit a while. And they called it Burrow Acres, right across from Grandpa's woods. Part of me will always live there, though I wonder how it could. I can visit here, but I won't stay any longer than I should. They called it Burrow Acres, right across from Grandpa's woods.
You're widely known as a person of great faith. Many of your songs deal with issues of spirituality and faith. What led you to couple the two? Was it a conscious decision, or did it just occur naturally?
It's just something that happened. Music has always been a part of my life, and there are some things that I also love science, always have, but there are some things that science can't explain. And there are some realities that affect us that are not easily comprehended through logical means. And so music is a way of expressing and grappling with some of the deeper questions of life. And doing it through music and particularly lyrics is just something that came naturally to me.
Well, what advice would you give to an up-and-coming songwriter or performer who's trying to make their mark on the Omaha scene?
Get a job. Because you're probably not going to make a living at music. Find something you can make a living at to fall back on. Making a living at music is certainly attainable, but it's hard work. There's a lot of sacrifices, a lot of compromises. And I am less successful in the economic sense because I was unwilling to make certain compromises that would entail. And, you have to decide what you're willing to give up, how much of your soul you're going to sell for the sake of selling your music, and resolve yourself to the fact that you may not make a living at it. It's very tough. The competition is very steep. My goodness, we are so glutted with talent. There are, if I get to play a gig once in a while at 55 years old, I feel like I'm really blessed because there are 100 kids, 20 years and younger, with a whole lot of talent, and more power to them. God bless all you young people doing this. I hope you're successful. But it's a tough way to make a living. This song kind of deals with the interconnectedness of things and the mysteries of this universe that we live in that are perhaps better addressed by poetry than they are by science. And I was inspired to write this while I was on my way to the hospital to visit a young friend of mine who had had a heart attack at the age of 30 and was not expected to live. And coming close to death in that way kind of causes you to reflect on some things, and mundane things take on new meaning. And I found the imagery in this song just kind of coming to mind as I was driving to the hospital, and I had to stop every couple of blocks and write down my thoughts, and by the time I got there, most of the song was written. Sybil was the young gal's name, and she later got a heart transplant and is doing very well now. And so I have her to thank for this song. It's called Sybil. Sybil puts her boots on and crunches through October's cast-off clothing. The wind says autumn's over, but her heart still hears the spring. She walks out on a cold November morning as the snowflakes gently fall and kiss the frosty face of the dawn. But no one seems to notice. Another mystic moment come and gone. Days are growing longer now, and Sybil struggles to shake off winter's chill. Will her passion be awakened as April's ardent sky draws the dewy drapes of evening? To make love to the trembling earth and kiss the blushing cheeks of twilight. Oh, but no one seems to notice eternal secrets whispered in the night. Fragile fruits are waiting to be tasted, Sybil, so stay with me a while, and we'll savor summer's golden glory as all creation reaches to touch the tender tears on God's face. But does anybody notice the mystery unveiled in his embrace? All creation reaches to taste the tender tears on God's face. Oh, lift up your heart and wonder, mysteriously lost in his embrace.
Let everyone